Hi folks, welcome to part 3 of the series on our India trip that I've been putting together. This video starts with us leaving Sisu, heading towards Leh. From Leh we go to Umlinga, and then from Umlinga we end up back in Leh, and then we fly to Delhi and go home. Thanks to those people who've watched the previous 2 videos and given me some feedback. I've tried to incorporate some improvements into our production of this one. I'm pretty new to this whole video making a gig, and I've learnt a lot through trying to put these videos together about future settings for my GoPro camera and some little tricks that I can make while I'm filming to make it easier to put the videos together as we go along. I want to keep making videos going forward, but I want to try and keep the reliance on gear to a minimum, so looking at different ways of recording sound and commentary without having to carry fancy microphones and a whole bunch of extra gear. And I'd really like to get by with just one camera, so that's my goal. Check out this view down the valley. The hills, the little bit of green that's still around, and the clouds on top of the hills, it is really quite stunning, and I apologise if I say this repeatedly going forward. Look at that, we just crossed the longest bridge in this area of India. New adventures every day. Gotta love the signage on the Indian roads, it's really unique. Well, after a little while out of Sisu on tar roads, we're back onto some gravelly type roads, and this looks like a fairly interesting water crossing in front of us. They've obviously had some sort of fairly significant landslip or earth movement on this part of the hillside. It's an amazing spot. The water comes rushing down this narrow channel lined by rock either side, and then has to take a sharp 90-degree turn and a drop down under what looks like to be an old bridge. Very impressive. A local guy is giving us a bit of the history of this spot and a bit of an explanation of its significance. On the road again, the road surface has improved again for a while, and we've got some nice twisty bits. We've got the river on our right hand side, and check out some of the size of these river rocks on the left hand side of the road. Really quite a lovely way to spend time on a bike. I better not run down the lady crossing the road to feed the road workers in the truck. Not a good look. There's snow in the hills and snow on the side of the road. The temperature's dropped a little bit, making it a little bit chilly, but I guess that's to be expected when you're in the high country. The view off to the right is spectacular. You've got the mix of the clay sort of soil, some rocks, some snow melding. It's hard to tell where the snow finishes and the clouds begin. Really quite spectacular. It looks like it might be a remnant of a small glacier even. More snow. Time for a little break and a chance to sort of soak in the scenery. Previous couple of days been pretty hard pressed to make up time, so it's good to be able to have a few stops and actually look at the countryside we're riding through. It's 16,500 feet. I think this is about the highest we've gone so far, and a pretty decent height at that. I think it's the highest I've ever been. Another water crossing. Michael was still on the old Bullet at this stage. It was shortly afterwards, I think, that it gave up the Ghost and he had to swap over to a Himalayan as well. Another water crossing. This is one of the trickier ones we've been through. What you can't see is a section that I've already come through behind me that was quite long, and then there's this section up front where you can't see what's underneath you, and it's a little bit treacherous. After I got through, a truck going the other way actually went in and got stuck, and also Michael had a little fall as well, you might see. We stopped here for lunch and a bit of a break. Trish was travelling in a car at this stage because she and John had had a little bingle going around a corner, and she fell rather hard and was feeling very sore and sorry with some sore ribs. Having just gone through a rough bit of road and some treacherous water crossings, now we're on some brand new tar in the middle of nowhere, and all the workers are starting to walk home from their labours at the end of the day. Back on the gravel. This is our overnight accommodation. There'd been a little bit of a mix-up when we arrived here because the lady that rented a double booked and didn't have all the spaces available that we thought we were going to have. But it was a very scenic location, and she did the best to fit us in. White building is the amenities block with a Western toilet, Indian toilet, and a shower room where you took hot water from the solar hot water system in the field. Heading out for the day, the driveway out of our accommodation proved to be one of the more challenging little roads that we would go on during the trip. The GoPro generally doesn't do a real good job of capturing the steepness of roads and trails, but in this case, even the GoPro showing how steep parts of this driveway are. It's like riding over a bridge on the moon. Except for the river, I suppose. Crikey, check out this powdery, dusty surface. It's really weird. It's kind of got a talcum powder kind of consistency. A little bit slippery. There's not much breeze around at the moment, so the other problem, apart from it being slippery, is the dust just hanging in the air. I'm trying to clean the lens of the camera as we go along, but apologies if it gets dusted over. Of course, along with this newfound dust, we also are encountering a series of switchbacks, so it's really good at keeping us on our toes today. It might sound like I'm having a little bit of a whinge, and I'm not really, but it's just amazing the different kind of road surfaces and conditions we're encountered from one minute to the next. Check out this boulder perching on the side of the hill. I know we've been through some fairly treacherous looking landscapes previously, but this one really does seem to be holding on with a bare minimum of assistance. KTM was hosting a ride with journalists and influencers on KTM 360s, and they really had the support crew. This is just an example of two of the ambulances that was travelling with the group. This is just a little reminder of some of the dangers of working on these roads and travelling on them in general. I hope the operator of this bit of equipment wasn't in the vehicle when it got crushed. Imagine living out here in these huts beside the road. It would be a dusty, dry sort of existence most of the time. Back in the dust again. The front wheels moving around a little bit, as you might be able to see. Probably would have been a good idea to drop some of the air pressures a little. But then again, in 100 metres we're probably going to be on hard rocky road and a lot more air in the tyres again. So just enjoy the challenge. I hope you can get a sense of how steep some of these bits of road are as well. The ride today has been fun with some challenging bits, as you can see, but fairly short. So we got into our next stop in time to relax, clean our clothes, some of the dust, and go out for lunch. Well, it's the next morning and the day is gone, glorious sunny day, and we're riding through another lovely little valley surrounded by the impressive mountain formations that are the Himalayas. It's amazing how quickly the landscape changes from having a bit of green to being almost completely barren and desert-like. You see it every day, but you just can't get used to it.
So here we are, 11 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning, and having to stop for more roadworks because of another landslip that's happened.
Check out the sky behind the mountains. Very impressive. Falling off to the left here wouldn't be a very good idea at all. These are the sort of roads where the Himalayas in its element, going along between first and third gears, so you're not going really fast. It's light and manoeuvrable, and the suspension does a pretty good job when you're one up, not carrying a huge amount of gear. We pulled over here to check out the scenery and to regroup because we got a little bit strung out through the dusty section of the road when one of the road workers came running around the corner in a mad panic telling us to move on because there'd been several rock falls there just recently. Not the best place to park. Spectacular scenery, however. The Hotel Moonland was our stop for the evening. Had a lovely meal here, good accommodation, and the grounds were absolutely beautiful. Another day, another water crossing. Heading towards Leh today. Time for a short break and a chance to check out the scenery again. More magnificent mountains. Bloody hell, took my eyes off the road a little bit there and nearly hit that dirt pile. It can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes riding the bike and trying to put the video together as well. Check out those colours going down into the valley, really quite unique. Coming from Australia, really quite familiar with the desert colours and the different sands and gravels and things, but it's seeing them in the context of these mountains instead of the vast plains that we've got in Australia that's quite different. I'm enjoying these switchbacks, starting to get a little bit of a rhythm up today. Some days haven't been able to quite achieve that, getting that sort of right entry and exit speed. But in this little section, it's a bit of fun. Blimey, these loose stones are a little bit of a ordinary surface to ride on. Off the stones and back into the powder. Standing up's the way to go. You can see how this white powder just coats everything around it in the landscape. And just like that, we're back on a section of tar, carving our way through another valley. I didn't record it, but on the last part of the gravel, before we hit this tar, I started to get cramps in my legs, and I reckon every muscle in my legs got a cramp. I didn't realise that you could get cramps in your shins. Very painful. Over on the right, you can see what looks like, the start of a little bit of a cave or an undercut. So you can see the way the water is relentless in coming down this valley and just carving away bits of the rock and soil over time. Another pretty little valley. It must be hard to find places to locate your houses where you feel secure that some great boulder's just not going to roll down the hill in the middle of the night or the day and wipe out you and your house. The changes of colour that occur as you come in and out of light and shadow are endlessly fascinating. No better place than the middle of the road to pull up, meet with your mates and do a bit of regular maintenance on your truck while you're at it. It's so different to Australia, where they have stop-go men when they're mowing the side of the road now, or when you come to roadworks, they've got escort vehicles to escort you through the roadworks, because apparently we can't be trusted to do it by ourselves anymore. What an amazing valley. I guess we can just add it to the list of numerous amazing valleys we've been through over the last couple of weeks. I love these little alleys of trees that you find occasionally as you come past a group of houses or into a small village. They just sort of pop up out of the arid landscape and they really frame the places nicely. It's around the time of India's Independence Day celebration, so we're starting to see some signs of early community events. We're gradually getting closer to Leh, so we're seeing more villages and more signs of life than the valleys that we've been going through earlier in the morning. Gotta love the horns on some of these trucks. A little roadside stop to rest and regroup. Also took the opportunity to take a beer o'clock photo here. Notice we're on a sort of a plateau at this stage, wide open plain area. Lots of military vehicles coming towards us and going in the direction we're going. It looks like the landslips or rock sides have damaged this little village to the point that it's been abandoned. We're approaching Leh now, and what you'll notice from about 10 kilometres out is just the military barracks on either side of the road. Don't think we're meant to be videoing, so I won't take much footage of this going forward. Well, we've reached Leh, where we'll have a couple of days of rest. We've got to swap over our bikes to another set of bikes to go up to Umlingla and chance to do a bit of shopping. We'll be coming back to Leh on our way home. Our motel in Leh was beautiful. It was also great to be able to get some of our clothes sent out to launder it because they were really covered in the white dust. I tried to clean them off in the shower, but it just didn't work. Here we are checking out our new bikes, getting ready to leave for the final stage of our trip. Today our goal is to make our way from Leh to the little town of Naoma, where we'll overnight in preparation for our dash up into Umlingla. First of all, however, we need to get out of Leh. It's a beautiful day for a bike ride. The temperature's just perfect. The further we get from Leh, the less traffic we're encountering as well. So at times it feels like we're the only people out here on these plains. As well as the mountains, which obviously dominate the scenery in this part of the world. The rivers that carve their way through the mountains also are a dominating feature of the landscape. You could see it wouldn't take much of an elevation in the river levels for it to spill over onto this road. Bloody hell, I didn't see that missing metal cladding on the bridge until too late. Lucky the wheels didn't sort of drop straight through. Further evidence that the river and the road sometimes share the same path. Siraj just chilling out. Time for a detour off the beaten track and a chance to get another group photo in a scenic setting. There was also a chance to do a little maintenance on my bike. The sarong guard that covers the back chain for pillion passengers in India had come loose and was binding up with the chain and the brake. Zip ties to the rescue. This is Naoma, our stop for the night. We got separated into 3 different groups at 3 different guest houses, and our host was absolutely lovely. It's the following morning and time for the big push through to Umlingla. We're in the heart of disputed territory here, so there was some nuances with our permits and lots of army barracks. Another glorious morning to be on the road. We stopped at Hanley for breakfast, and we also took on a local guide here to show us a dirt road that took us part of the way to Umlingla. So we're finished on the dirt road section of the route, and we're now on the tar for that final section heading towards Umlingla. Just stopping to look at another marker along the way. You might not be able to hear it, but it's obvious now that we're starting to get to altitude and the little Himalayas are struggling a little bit. So you have to sort of rev the guts out of them in first, and then they'll die a bit in second, and rev the guts out of them in second, and you might be lucky to get them into 3rd gear, but probably not. It's starting to get pretty chilly as we get close to the top of the pass. And here we are, Umlingla Pass, a destination that's been a couple of years in the planning and has shown us some challenges along the way in the execution, particularly with the mudslides early on in our trip. But we're here, we made it. An achievement of a lifetime. Good job, team. Having finished up taking photos and celebrating at the top of the pass, it was quite chilly up there, so we didn't hang around too long, and it's now time to head back towards our accommodation for the evening. Back over some dusty, slightly slippery roads. This is our ragtag group of adventure riders who've just conquered the world's highest navigable road. Coming into town now to our accommodation for the evening. Well, what a huge day it's been. We're here in our accommodation for the night, and I think we're all pretty exhausted and happy at the same time. Well, it's the following day, and we're making our way back to Leh. It feels a bit weird knowing that this will be our last day riding motorbikes inlay, and when we get there this afternoon we'll be handing our bikes back to their owners, and from then we'll be on foot and plane, and we'll be starting to make our way back home to Australia. One last chance to have some fun on the Indian roads in the valleys as we come into Leh. This brings to an end our great Indian adventure. Many thanks to Siraj and his team. You were wonderful. You went above and beyond. Thanks to Phil and Michael for organising this event and inviting us along. And thanks to all my fellow adventurers. You were such great company, and I wish you all the best for the future. Ride safe.